Today we will speak about cognitive processes, how they impact our perception of the world, social groups, and our conflict behavior. Where our social categories come from? They are results of our biological makeup. Our brain processes a lot of information at the same time. To make sense of it, we organize all this information into particular categories. It's helping us to make sense of complex world. But even these social categories are not completely invented by us. They really come as a result of interaction with the world. For example, when we see that grass is green, sky is blue, these categories of green and blue is a result of our interaction with physical world. We perceive some wave as a color, as a light. It's come into our brain, and finally we see green as a color. In this situation, we see wave as a content of our image and green as a form of this particular image. In the same way, social processes also have a lot of content. There are a lot of different groups, people interact very sporadically, but we perceive them as united within particular group categories, like gender, like ethnic group, national group, races, and so on. These particular categories have a very interesting center-periphery structure. Even they have very different variation, like color green, or shapes and colors of cars. We know that particular object belongs to particular category, because we have some ideas what could be the original type of category and what could be variation of this category. Even we see banana in dark light, in green light, in other lights, we still know that it's banana, and it still gives us an idea that it belongs to this particular category. This category is part of our experience. We fulfill these categories with meanings through our life. And we create particular concepts which help us to represent these categories. For example, when you think about table, you can think about a lot of different types of tables, different shapes, different colors, different functions. But you have category and concept of table, which help you to perceive all different types of table as a table. We also have prototypes. What is the most typical and what is ideal? Typical give us ideas what could be the most usual type of category. And ideal give us comparison, what we should expect as the best representation and what there is in reality. How categories developed? Vygotsky gave very interesting ideas how child develop these categories. First, these social categories appeared on the social level. These categories perceive on the level between people. And then, gradually, they become part of our own psyche. We start thinking, using the social categories as tools of our analysis of the world. So it's a society which first creates category of ethnic group, national group, race, and then people internalize these categories and start using them in their perception of the world. We also have to understand that there are some scientific and spontaneous concepts. Scientific concepts based on abstract conceptual knowledge, something which we get in our education. It usually have systematic organization. For example, you have first definition what electricity is, and then you start understanding its particular processes and mechanisms. But there are also spontaneous concepts, which actually arrive from our experience of the world. We probably never learn specific definition of lamp, but we know how lamp look like, what's the function of lamp, how to use lamp in our life. Interestingly enough, doesn't matter which category you use. Is it a scientific concept or spontaneous concept? They both are very rigid, they resist differences, and they really influence how we think about people, how we organize people in particular groups, and how we behave towards them. How categories function? There are several mechanisms which we should discuss that help us to understand social processes. First is meta-contrast. It states that differences within categories are smaller than differences between categories. For example, let's take apples and oranges. Apples can be different colors, different shape, different size. And oranges also can be different size and shape. And sometimes some apples can be very similar to some oranges. But if I will ask you to put them into groups, you always will put, despite sometimes very strong similarities, you will put all apples in one side and all oranges in one side. So you see differences within particular category of apples and oranges as less important than differences between these categories. So we create a strong boundary between categories and see homogeneously within these two categories. Second important mechanism is accessibility. When we see that people need to be ready to use particular category, they have to have some education, some experience, some knowledge to use particular category in their life. If people do not know that there are differences, political differences of say, liberal and conservative people, it will be hard for them to use this category in their understanding of the world. And also, categories which we use also should fit the situation. You should know that particular category can be applied to a particular group of interactions between people. What are results of it? One of the results which will be important for us to understand social processes is outgroup homogeneity. Members of groups are more homogeneous than members of in-group. We see others as very similar to each other, but we see members in our group as less similar. And minority also are more homogeneous in perceptions of other people. And they also see themselves more homogeneous. And they really behave as more homogeneous groups. And another very important result is stereotype. What is stereotype? Usually it's some generalization, some assumptions that people of one group has similar features, similar behaviors, similar characteristics. And usually they are pretty wrong, but the most important that if we believe in them, we behave according to them. What are functions of these stereotypes? First of all, they legitimize beliefs. If we believe that some people are less educated, so we will behave according to our belief. If we believe that some people are more aggressive, we will behave towards these people according to this belief. And if we receive some information which is inconsistent or even sometimes opposite to our beliefs, in this situation we still continue to maintain our beliefs and we just do not believe this information or perceive it as a very small occasion. And what is important, the stereotypes usually work like self-fulfilling prophecies. It's influence behavior of others and reinforce stereotypes. In one experiment, then people were told that people they will interact with are more educated or less educated, they behave accordingly to them. And people who were assigned as less educated and more educated, they also start behaving in a particular way. So we see how stereotypes and these self-fulfilling prophecies influence behavior of the people. And of course, one of the most intense examples of stereotype is scapegoating, where we blame individual or groups for our failure, and it gives us opportunity to attribute to them some function, some features, some stereotypes, and unite them around these particular stereotypes. So what we discuss with you today and what you will discuss in your papers really should understand how social perception of social groups are influenced by our structure of our perception. And then you will write about cognitive biases, think how they are organized and how they influence conflict dynamics.